Yes.
Then I
Is
think
that right?
the Boulevard Champions, I think.
Yeah.
That's the one way out.
Here.
Greckin,
Here.
Moore,
Here.
Scott,
Here.
Waters.
I
Here.
make a
He's
motion
here.
to go into closed session of the city council to evaluate the professional competency of an individual whose appointment is going to be considered to prevent needless and irreparable injury to that individual's reputation, and that individual requests a closed session.
Second. Whoa. Yeah, let's see.
Just reading what's on here.
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters,
Aye.
Capron.
No. Yeah.
I make a motion, we go into closed session of the city council, discuss strategy with council about matters that are presently in litigation because public disclosure would be likely to prejudice or disadvantage the position of the city in that litigation.
Second.
Moore,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters,
Aye.
Capron,
Aye.
Greckin.
Aye.
Did you tell Kelly to call that guy
Yeah.
Capron,
Aye.
Gretton,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters.
Aye.
Because I'd
I
ate
move
it.
we adjourn the closed session.
Second. I didn't
Reckon?
say.
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters, Capron.
Aye.
We'll be back at 4:05.
That's only 2 minutes.
Hey, you wanna?
I got 4:03 right now.
I'll see you then.
Yeah, that clock is.
I was gonna say,
Capron.
Here.
Here.
Stand for a moment of silent prayer followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Amen. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any of these items or on an item not on the agenda, please come, when you come to the podium, state your name and address so it can be used for the record later. I'll move the consent agenda.
Second.
2 is a reading of the City Council minutes of July 17th and 18th, 2017. 3 is a resolution adding a communications and public engagement specialist to the PATS position classification manual and pay schedule. 4 is a resolution adopting a policy to use native grasses in trail construction projects where applicable. 5 is a resolution authorizing the police department to submit a grant to the MRHD to purchase a police video training simulator. I want to ask a question on that one. I know when this came up in the budget, we were talking about sharing it either with WID or with the sheriff's office and any of that. Or is that not the case any longer?
Well, it didn't look like we were going to have any room in our budget to do it, so we were submitting the grant for the full price, and we would absolutely, as part of our grant, we're going to say that we're going to share it with the Sheriff's Department in Western Iowa Tech.
Where will
Lisa
it be
Clay's
stationed? Where
with the
will it be
police department,
stationed?
by the way. Pardon me?
Where will it be and where will you place it?
Well, it's portable. It's relatively portable, so it would be down at our training center, which the Sheriff's Department uses.
Okay. Okay. 6 is resolution adopting plans and specifications for the construction of the bridge repairs project. 7 are actions relating to agreements and contracts. A is a resolution approving an agreement with Trinity Electric Services for a sewer and water discharge dispute in the 1900 block of Fairbank Street. B is a resolution approving amendment number 1 to the agreement of Walker Restoration for the Discovery Parking Ramp Repair Project. C is a resolution approving a change order to the contract with Paragon Restoration for the Discovery Parking Ramp Perry Project. D is a resolution approving work order number 3 to the agreement with Bartlett and West for the Asset Renewal Phase 2 project. E is a resolution approving an amendment number 4 to the agreement with Short Elliott Hendrickson for the Cone Park Design Project. F is a resolution approving a contract and a performance bond with Bainbridge Construction for the Lewis and Clark Park Infield Drainage Improvement Project. G is a resolution approving the contract and performance bond with Dixon Construction for the Outer Belt North and Floyd Boulevard Trail Connection Project. H is a resolution approving I&A construction for the 2017 Fire Station Concrete Repair Project. I is a resolution approving an agreement with JEO Consulting Agreement for South Roy Street and Myers Avenue Storm Sewer Repair Project. J is a resolution approving an agreement with Seasonal Labor Solutions to provide snowmaking and grooming workers for the Cone Park snow tubing operation. 8 are actions authorizing the issuances of checks. A is a resolution authorizing the final payment of Nelson Construction and Development for the box hangar development project at the Sioux Gateway Airport. B is a resolution authorizing payment for medical costs for the negotiated settlement of a tort claim. C is a resolution approving a negotiated settlement of a tort claim and authorizing payment. D is a resolution authorizing final payment to L&L Builders for the Riverside Pool Improvement Project. 9 are applications for beer liquor license. See the list, come forward if you have any questions. 10 are receipt of minutes. See the list, come forward if you have any questions. Anyone to be heard on any of those items, please come forward now.
Okay.
Still work? Hope so. Stay lit like that?
No. Hold on, let's try it. I don't think so either.
That's all right, I'll call it. Capron.
Aye.
Greckin.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Scott.
Aye.
Waters.
Aye.
11 is a resolution approving the final plat for Harbor Drive subdivision. Petitioner Brian Bollinger, W.A. Klinger, P&Z
Chris Madsen, Senior Planner. The Planning and Zoning Commission did hear this and voted unanimously in favor, and no one spoke in favor or opposition.
Thank you. Call the roll, please.
Greckin,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters,
Aye.
Capron.
Aye.
12, the hearing and resolution approving plans and specification for construction.
Moore,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters,
Aye.
Capron,
Aye.
Greckin.
Aye. 13 is a hearing and resolution accepting the proposal of Ho Chunk Capital Real Estate for the land in the combined Central Sioux City CBD Urban Renewal Area portion of the vacated east-west alley abutting 607 and 615 Pearl Street. I'll move it.
Second.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters,
Aye.
Capron,
Aye.
Greckin,
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
14 is a hearing and resolution accepting the proposal of J. Clone for the land in the Donner Park Urban Renewal Area and authorizing a development agreement property at 2301 Boulevard of Champions deferred from May 8th, June 5th, and 19th, and July 10th, 2017.
I'd like to ask Mr. Skinner if he would please come to the podium so we could have a little discussion on this.
All right.
I'm very much in favor of this project. I think that what you have proposed is excellent for not only the community, but I think Seaboard Triumph. It's a very fine example of other new businesses coming into Sioux City to develop and grow in Sioux City. I think Sioux City is very fortunate to have your proposal before us, and I appreciated the time and patience that you had to work with city staff in putting this together. The question I have, and a little bit of what we discussed, and it was very little, so I'm going to just tweak it a little bit.
Okay.
In the proposal, there's the fuel station and convenience store that was being
Yes, sir.
proposed. What I would like to suggest is an amendment to the development agreement that would state basically if within 2 years of when the road is completed, that if a convenience store is not constructed, fuel station and convenience store, that the city would buy back that piece for the same amount of money that you're paying, with a right of first refusal to you to control who the city's buyer would be for that corner location. So it'd be a right of first refusal. So if we get a proposal, you don't agree with the type of business or type of buyer that would be going in because it could be detrimental to your business, that you'd have the right to buy that property.
Yeah, that would be acceptable.
Yeah, that's a little bit different than what we talked about. That way you're protected, the city would be protected, the taxpayers would be. But, you know, Sioux City's very, I mean, I want you to do business in Sioux City, and I think you'll like doing business here. I think your business plan, I think the new phases that you'll be eventually doing, growing that business, is going to be good for Sioux City. It's going to be good for job creation, and you're a Sioux Cityan. You know, this is your hometown as well, and we want to welcome you and tell you that we appreciate what you're doing. We're trying to work out some of these finer points that are sometimes can cause the deferrals that we've had. And I appreciate, just on a personal note, I appreciate your being okay that I just needed additional time to read through the development agreement, because I hadn't. The city attorney sent it to me on Friday. That's my fault for not reviewing it over the weekend, but I just didn't get the job done. So, and I like to read what I'm voting on. So I appreciate that from that
That's no
standpoint.
problem.
So if I could do that kind of an amendment, that if the fuel station convenience store location, which is about, you and I talked about, that's about an acre, I think. or
Roughly,
about-
I think with what's drawn
roughly.
on there.
It's the one that's on the
Whatever it's scaled to on the site plan, we
yeah,
can scale
whatever
that, that's
it's on
fine.
the site plan, that if that's not constructed within 2 years from when the road is finished, and.
When you say the road, you mean the new road going, exiting the south.
Right, a new road going to the south, that the city will buy that piece back for what you paid for it on a pro rata basis, and then you would be given a right of first refusal to purchase that piece back if the city should find a buyer for that parcel. Would that be agreeable, the right of first refusal?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've got some details to work out, but in spirit, that's fine.
Okay.
That's acceptable.
So I would move item 14 with,
Just, I'll second it, but just for clarification,
That
but
amendment.
if he comes with a proposal that's not a convenience store, but it's the same dollar amount, I don't think anybody's gonna be upset. So if you have something that happens in the next 2 years, do that.
Yep, no, I understand
It doesn't
that.
have to be a convenience store.
I mean, there's a lot of, if you read, now that Dan's read the contract, if you read through it, there's a lot of good faith on both sides. So,
There is.
so I'm assuming that as we get deeper into this process, we understand the traffic flow.
right,
This won't be the last conversation we have about development on that site.
right. And is 2 years too short of a time? Or
No,
is
that's
that
fine.
about
We'll know by then if it's right.
city attorneys?
I think that changes the draft of the agreement
Yeah, it does.
a bit for what's in front of the council today. So my question is, we need to have a defined, I guess, amount of land that would be subject to this, that we're going to have to work out. We currently have a reverter interest in the agreement that's going to change related to this parcel. So we're going to have to, this changes the scope of the agreement a bit. We're going to have to redraft it.
The reverter interest being that if the other facilities aren't constructed
Correct.
within the period of time.
Right, I understand.
Then it reverts back.
Correct. So my question is, we're going to have to redraft the agreement at this point to bring back a different version. There are a couple of different things we can do. Usually, we don't approve development agreements with a change on the floor with an amendment. We could do that, but that means that we're going to have to work out the terms after the fact.
That's all right.
The other way would
You'll
be
get
to
it done.
defer it, unfortunately, for another time and then bring back a revised agreement for the council's consideration.
You'll get it done.
And I understand what you're saying, but I would really prefer not to defer it.
And I know I don't get to vote, but I would prefer to approve it or vote on it pending a successful negotiation of amendment. I really don't want to go back to my partners with a deferral.
You'll get it
And
done.
it's pretty straightforward.
Yes, it's pretty simple.
Amendment.
Dan will give you all the details after the meeting.
All right, let me try to recap, just
Go
for
ahead.
purposes of
Okay,
the
sure.
recording today.
Please do.
So it would be the portion that would be designated under Mr. Skinner's original proposal for the convenience and store and the fuel tank site. We estimate that to be around an acre out of the 9.52 acres.
Whatever it scales to on the site plan.
Right.
Okay. And then there would be a right of first refusal for the city to purchase at that time? Or am I
In 2 years.
understanding
Buy it back
After
in
2
2
years.
years.
after 2 years of,
After the new road's constructed
okay,
and we get traffic flow, then Mr. Skinner would have a right of first refusal. With the city,
The
if you
city
don't,
could buy it back.
if you don't construct within 2 years, after the road is open and we know the traffic flow, then the city would buy it back for the same price, pro
Could or
rata.
would?
Pardon?
Could or would?
We would.
Would buy it back after 2 years if you don't develop it. But then Mr. Skinner would have a right of first refusal to purchase the land if the city finds a buyer.
If that use is not acceptable.
Right.
okay. The minimum,
If we find someone that's going to develop into a fuel station and convenience store, then we're off.
That's the perfect world. If we choose not to and someone else wants to,
That's
then
right.
I say that's what we do.
But
okay,
if we have a buyer that comes in that's adverse to your interest at what you have constructed there, then Mr. Skinner
Then he has the option to buy.
could buy the property.
the minimum improvements as drafted in the current agreement do not include the convenience store as a
Right,
requirement.
so they don't change.
Okay.
On the amendment, call the roll, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Aye.
Capron,
Aye.
Greckin,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Scott.
Aye. Now on number 14.
Well, that was on the amendment.
That was on the amendment.
Now it's 14 as
No.
amended.
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
call the roll.
Capron,
Aye.
Greckin,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters.
Aye.
15 is an ordinance amending the municipal code by clarifying the requirements for the electrical inspector position and establishing the requirements for plumbing and mechanical inspections. I'll move that.
Second?
Greckin,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters,
Aye.
Capron.
Aye.
Anybody opposed to waiving the statutory rule?
No.
No.
I'll move it.
Second.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters,
Aye.
Capron.
Aye.
Move second and third.
Second.
Moore,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters,
Aye.
Capron,
Aye.
Greckin.
Aye.
16 is a resolution approving an agreement between BTW Properties, Bronkers Foods, and U.S. Foods property at 2101 Murray Street. I'll move it.
Second. Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters,
Aye.
Capron,
Aye.
Greckin.
Aye.
Where am I at? 17, resolution approving a contract amendment and assignment of targeted jobs withholding tax credit withholding agreement with IEDA, BTW Properties, Bronker Foods, and U.S. Foods. I'll move that.
Second.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters,
Aye.
Capron,
Aye.
Greckin,
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
18 is a resolution approving change order number 2 to the contract with MLS Landscape and Design for the Promenade Improvement Project. I'll move it.
Second.
I had a question about that. How do we not catch that as far as the doorways and the footings? That's
Melissa Campbell, Environmental Services Analyst. It wasn't until during construction of the promenade that we realized that there were no footings installed at the entryway doors. And just because of the history of heaving of those pavers in front of throughout the whole area, we recommended that footings be installed at all of the entryway doors.
but it wasn't required or needed when it was originally constructed. My thought is, do we go back on the person that did this that should have been had that?
We tried to locate plans for the promenade today, and that person is out of the office, but we will look into that to see if they were, if that was part of the original building plans.
Yeah, because I'd rather recover it than us to, yeah.
And this is currently in litigation with the
Yeah.
Civic Partners litigation, and this is a question that's been passed on to our counsel that's representing the
But how'd they
city.
get a certificate of occupancy if they didn't see the footings?
Yeah, that's, okay.
We just want to make sure that it's constructed correctly this time, so there's no issues.
Yep. Okay, thanks, Melissa.
I'll just let it go today.
Waters,
I'll remember that next time I build
Aye.
something, I'll just leave.
Capron,
Aye.
Greckin,
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Scott.
Aye. Spalding Park improvements. The presentation.
Matt Salvatore, Parks and Recreation Director. The Parks and Recreation Department has been working with a group of interns from JEO on plans and specifications for Spalding Farm Park located on Gordon Drive. One of the best things about this project, it was done for absolutely no cost to the city. So we're very thankful for all the services the interns at JEO have been able to provide. We have been working with them since May, and as a part of this project, they wanted to get experience presenting in front of groups. So they presented to the park board today at noon, and now they're presenting to the city council. So with that, I will turn it over to Justin Vogel.
All right, thank you. Like Matt said, I'm Justin Vogel, JEO Consulting Group. Thank you for letting us come here today and present. I think we'll have a slideshow up there. Just kind of want to give you a little background on our intern group. As a company, we typically hire 20 to 25 interns. A lot of times, you know, everybody's busy and you don't always focus and take the time to teach them things. So this was kind of our effort to give back to the engineering industry to further grow our interns and, you know, a little chance to get back to some good clients and pick out those projects. So what we do is we'll pick out groups of 4 to 5 and we'll ask clients for a project, and we do this project free. We don't charge you. The intern group will act as the design team. They'll work with city staff. They'll survey it. They did the meetings, and then we did ask that if we could present to a park board or a council, which thank you for that opportunity. So it's really kind of been a great experience for them. I think they've learned a lot about how the real world's going to operate and when they get out of school. So I'll give them an opportunity quick to introduce themselves, then turn it over to Jordan, who's our project manager.
I'm Robert McGowan.
Just come on up to the mic, buddy. State your name and.
My name is Robert McGowan. I am a senior at UNL. I am majoring in civil engineering, and I am entering my last semester of school, getting ready to graduate in December.
And you're where?
At UNL.
UNL, okay.
Yep.
I'm Maddie Kenny. I am also at the Lincoln office for JEO. I am entering my last semester as an architecture and civil engineering double major at UNL.
Awesome.
I'm Josh Randolph. I work out of the Carroll office. I'm in my last year at DMAC for civil engineering technology.
Yeah, so my name is Jordan Babler. I'm a senior at Iowa State University, and I got to be the project manager for this project, so I'll be going forward with this presentation for you guys. To start off, I just want to share the main objective was to enhance Spalding Farm Park. And so just to give you an idea of what the existing site looks like, there's this, at the north end, there's a drainage pond up here, and there's just some ball, especially, and then down here in the southern edge, there's some old tennis courts that are pretty run down, and there's no nets there now. So another contract through the city is doing an overlay to make them basketball courts. And so some of the things we're doing to enhance the site is to incorporate a 1/6 of a mile walking trail around these sports practice fields that are in kind of the center of this picture here. And on top of that, we're going to add some fencing along the eastern edge to mainly provide safety for kids not to be playing sports and just to deter them from the road. Gordon Drive is right here on this eastern edge also. And there's also going to be a fence dividing the two basketball courts that are going to be soon constructed in the old location of the tennis courts. And another thing we were able to do is place some additional features like benches and a bike rack that surround the path, and also are some good spectator areas or places to rest during the basketball games. And as always, as many of these design projects for civil engineering, we designed it to a budget, so that limits some things and gives us opportunities to figure out ways we can fit the budget to the desires of our clients. And to give you an idea of just kind of our scope and the approach that we took to this project, we started off with a kickoff meeting with Matt and Kelly from the Parks and Rec Department and talked about the scope and got on the same page of what they were looking for. And they wanted a path that was kind of a uniform increment, so it's easy to put a sign up that 6 laps equals a mile, something of that sort. And from there, we were able to do the topographic survey of the site, and most of our intern team was actually able to do the survey, and so go out and get some experience in the field, seeing what the survey looks like. And from there, we entered the preliminary design phase, where we tried out a lot of different path lengths, and we ended up with a 1/6 of a mile again, and just fit the budget, and it seems to fit the park pretty well. Also, just with the limits that we have, because we don't want to encroach too much on these sports fields, so they can continue to practice and be used in that way. And through each design process, we were able to meet with Matt and Kelly throughout the way and just kind of get our plans approved and kind of what direction we were going, and they were on board. And at our first meeting, we learned that the overlay contractors for the basketball courts were going to be done in a different contract. They're originally in ours, but since there's doing some other around Sioux City, it seemed to be a better benefit for the city to do that in that same contract, and that just added a new dimension to our project to give us a chance to coordinate with other contractors. And from there, we entered our final design stage, where we got everything finalized, made sure the water would drain also, and just were able to place these benches and bike rack and get a good orientation for those basketball courts as well. And from there, we had one more meeting last week, and Matt and Kelly and Angel were present, and they were really helpful to approve us and they were happy with our design, so that was nice. And so next, as I said earlier, we were designing to a budget. So this is the thing. So the city are doing some of the work themselves just because of kind of this overlay coordination that we did. So the basketball court overlay, the striping of the basketball court itself, and the fencing and the basketball hoops are going to, in the benches and the bike racks are going to be purchased by the city or through another contract. And that came to about $32,000. And JEOs, what we're designing for is the walking trail, the fence along Gordon Drive, the concrete pads that the city will one day place the bike rack and benches on, and also just other construction costs that are related to this project. In that budget, we estimate about $46,000 for that construction. And in total, the construction estimate that we came up with was $78,000, and the budget we were given was about $80,000. So we're below budget, so we're hoping that that stays true. So thank you, guys.
You and everyone else.
Yeah. So.
You haven't bid it yet, young man.
Yeah, exactly.
Looks good right now.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we'd just like to thank you guys for giving us this opportunity to present our project to you. We've been working hard, and special thanks to Matt and Kelly and also Angel for just being great to work with in the Parks and Rec department, being able to give us freedom to, learn, and we're really good helps for us as well. So thank you also again.
You guys do know the city's looking for engineers right now, right? We have some openings. You all work from different offices?
That's correct. So I work out of the Ankeny office, and Robert and Maddie work out of Lincoln, and Josh works out of Carroll, and Justin is.
So how did you coordinate all this?
So that was another thing what we were able to learn this summer. A lot of it, we have an instant message system throughout the company, and we're able to communicate that way through maybe video or conference calls and just quick emails back.
Terrific. Thank you.
I got a question too, though.
Yes, absolutely. Questions?
What do you think was the most challenging part of the project, or what? I mean, and anyone can speak that worked on the project. Really talk about. I'm just always curious about the learning experience, or what was trying to do this project specifically. What were some of the bigger challenges that you met?
So I would say, at least for me, I was one of the designers for the project, and since it's such a flat area as it is, it was surprisingly hard to make sure it continued to drain. So that was one thing that I had to spend a lot of time and ask a lot of questions throughout the process, and the rest of the engineers at JEO were very helpful, and so that was, I think, my most challenging thing. And then also the concept of a budget is a little hard as a college student, and so working with that was also a good hurdle to get used to, and as we move forward in our careers. Does anyone else have any?
Yeah, I guess for myself, I worked a lot with Maddie on the budget stuff, like creating the cost estimate, and one of the more challenging parts was just kind of figuring out like what's going to be bid with what, as in terms of what the city's going to purchase and what JEO is going to put on the contract, and so a lot of like the coordination that went along with that was kind of one of the challenging parts, I guess, for myself, and kind of that learning experience. So I don't know, Maddie or Josh have anything else?
Great.
All right, very good. Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you guys very much
it.
for letting us present to you.
Presentation. Thank you.
And thank you, JEO, very much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there another presentation today? Something else, Bob? Was that what it was for? Seemed like somebody else was here today, but is that? Okay.
Matt, just do another presentation.
Doing a check presentation at the next meeting.
Oh, it's the next meeting, okay. Okay, I couldn't. Okay, that concludes our agenda. Are there any citizen concerns? So please come forward.
Yes.
State your name and address, please.
Billy Joe Brooks, Senior, 3013 Kensington Court, Sioux City, Iowa. Not only I, but my neighbors on our street have concern. We have washout underneath the road. They are only repairing portions of it. There's just dirt underneath it. There is no compaction, no rock, no nothing. They're trying to put a Band-Aid over an eyesore that's going to swallow a car. I have pictures on my phone that I took today where there's a sinkhole all the way down to my hip, where I can put my foot down, and still my foot was going down even further. And not only am I here, my neighbors are here, and we're concerned about it. Our driveways are caving in, and we talked to them, and they're not going to do anything about it. They're not going to put no rock down. We would like a solution instead of a Band-Aid or an eyesore before it swallows a car, unlike the city truck that fell in.
Well, just putting rock down is not going to solve your problem. I think they need a check.
No, it's called compaction, though.
Well,
Dave, you know anything about this one?
What was the block?
Kennington.
Yeah, I know that Mr. Brooks called the office today and Ed was out there. I have not had a chance to talk to Ed since he was out there. I think Ed and John both went out, John O'Brien.
Well, the job's wide open, and you can see the road, and it actually, the erosion goes underneath the road and out, and they've got all this tore up. There is hardly any dirt underneath the road at all. And I think the project should stop until the city council comes out there and looks at it and sees what we're talking about.
Is it in the 3100 block, 3000 block, 3100 block?
Yeah, it's a cul-de-sac, and I think the project should come to a halt, because I'm sure everybody on our street will not mind if it goes a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. The problem is starting up at the top of the hill. You can't keep just mud jacking the street and keep sealing it. The whole thing needs to be redone. And it needs to be done right. You can't start at the bottom and work your way up. You just, where they patched it last year, it's already eroding 2 inches underneath the new concrete. So we just wasted our tax money, replace it again, and then drill holes in the new concrete to mud jack that?
Glenn just informed me that Kensington Court is in the 2020 CIP.
It's what?
In the 2020 CIP for, to repair, to do similar repairs like we're doing on those,
What's 2020?
the year 2020. That's when it's budgeted.
2 more years from now.
Yeah,
But they're saying that, you know, the head guys from the office, the engineers, they're saying it's from our downspouts. You know, on our street, we have a code where we have to have a valley in our driveway so our water doesn't run into our neighbor's yard. It's code. Everybody's got it. All of our spouts are in those valleys. And they're blaming it on us. It's not us. I mean, there's cracks all the way up that road. There's chunks, and then they try to replace it with asphalt, or they mud jack it. They don't seal the holes, and it just comes out. When it rains, we got a foot of water coming out of the cracks with mud. Nobody comes down there when it rains to see what our problem is or where it's coming from. We need something done about it, or else the sinkhole down at the bottom of the street where it can't be built on is going to get worse.
Okay, well, we don't know anything about today, but will you get us a report right away?
I'll get
And will you
information
get
for
with
you.
him?
Yep.
All right. We'll get somebody out there to talk to you, Dave, or, yeah, Dave can talk to you before you leave today so he can get all your information and phone number and that, okay?
Okay, we appreciate it.
Thank
And
you.
also, my neighbor is here also because her driveway's caving in from it. And that's where the big part of the sinkhole is. I mean, it's all the way up to my waist where you can step down and there's no dirt whatsoever.
Are there signs there in the meantime that are?
No parking, they got it caution taped off and
Okay.
everything.
Good.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah.
All right, get with Dave before you leave so you can grab all of your phone numbers, okay?
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Council concerns? Pete?
You may have somebody they're debating here. Nope. Nobody else?
They're my neighbor.
That's the
Oh,
neighbor.
okay.
That's the neighbor, yeah.
I just wanted to share real quickly, I had a resident advisory board meeting last Friday, and actually it was Tom Bates, who is a housing analyst, and Amy Tooley, and I, but HUD was here last Monday, July 17th, and they do, I don't know if it's an annual audit or not, but they were here to see how things were going, and actually the city has a total of 1,205 vouchers to help people with their rents for housing, and 99.36% of the 1,205 vouchers are in use. HUD was very pleased. They said it's amazing the job you're doing here, which is always good to hear from the federal government. So I wanted to share that, and I just wanted to kind of put us on notice that according to Amy, the feds are proposing a 15% cut next year. So probably we're going to only be able to, we will end up serving less families, which is not necessarily a good thing. But the other thing I wanted to share real quickly was that HUD kind of encourages challenges for the housing services to and agencies that are involved with HUD funding to come up with ideas and to help families, and housing services is working towards, and I don't think Amy is here, is she? Are working towards, they're worried about the illiteracy rate of juveniles and young people, and they want to start a program to collect books and kind of have an area for them to share information and to help them with reading. So I thought it was a great idea, and maybe the Mayor's Youth Commission, to see if they can help. So I said if it was all right with her, I'd share it with everybody here. So the important part is that they're doing a great job down there, and HUD's pleased with what's going on. Maybe not good news if they cut budgets, but they're doing a lot of good things. And of course, It's not, no fault to Heidi, but when everybody's kind of, doing more with less, so they're really doing a good job, and I just wanted to give them a little acknowledgement, so. Thank you.
I just want to bring up the Unity in the Community event that they had on Saturday at Dill Park. It was awesome. Great turnout. I was really impressed. And the Sioux City Police Department was there, and so was the Woodbury County Sheriffs. We got the opportunity to dunk Sheriff Drew.
Yeah.
And I have to pat myself on the back because I got him. So I got him wet, and many other people did too. So the kids were having a great time.
Going the dunk tank?
And
Overhand or underhand?
I did underhand. Fast pitch, underhand. And Monique Scarlett, I have to thank her for starting this whole thing up. It was a year, almost the day that she had the march for Unity down at the police station, and it's a great event, and they're going to keep it up. So it brings everybody together, and it's a joyful, fun thing. Free food and free games and all kinds of stuff. So thank you, Monique, and the Sioux City Police Department and the Woodbury County Sheriffs. Appreciate it.
I would just second that. I thought Unity in the Community was a lot of fun and a great chance for everyone to come together and celebrate a community and just continue the dialogue. I really appreciate what Monique and Cliff and the others are doing. Captain Mueller and the other captains of the police department as well, and the sheriff's office for going out there. I think things like that are really important, especially in times right now. I know there's been a recent kind of some different crime happening in our community, and I think it's events like that where we build those relationships with the police officers, and I want people to feel comfortable calling and asking for help or reporting what they're seeing. I think that that's really important, and our police officers need that assistance. If you see something in your community, call, report it. That's how we start preventing this stuff. I would like to commend our police force. I think they're doing a great job. You look at the burglaries, they put it out to the community that we were looking for this suspect, that we're able to locate him and bring him to justice. I think like I said, our police force is doing a great job, and they have the full support of the council. I don't appreciate when I hear otherwise. If there's anything that is needed, we're right there behind them, and we look to the community also to do that. I think that's a big part of it, especially in those neighborhoods. So I think, to Rhonda's point, Unity in the Community is doing a great job building those bridges and making sure that people feel welcomed and safe. The other thing I would bring up that I'm looking forward to, there are a couple events going on this weekend, and Matt might know a little bit more too about Bike and Bite. Is that through, I know it's Flavors of Northwest Iowa, but is ISU having anything to do with that, or am I wrong?
I know Angel's working on that special event application, but unfortunately I don't know a lot of the details.
I believe it's being coordinated through Iowa State Ag Extension.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
That's what I thought too. But that starts this Saturday at 9 a.m. It's a Bike and Bite, so if you really are a cyclist, or I'm told I have 6 wheels and I can still do it, so hey, anyone else that wants to borrow a wheelchair or whatever you want on wheels, go for it. But
32.
so what it is going around and just biking to different restaurants or different. I know they're also stopping at Hy-Vee and Minerva. There's a couple other places just to try local fare and get out there and enjoy the outdoors. I think it starts at 9 a.m. at the farmer's market. I think tickets are $15. So if you want to get out, if you're a foodie or if you just like biking or being outdoors, I would encourage you to go do that. That's Bike and Bite, I believe. And then, yeah, I think there are a few other events, but I don't need to go all into that. We just have a lot going on, especially throughout the week and the weekend. So please pay attention to your local news stations and get out in the community. That's all I got.
Okay. I have no report.
I move we adjourn.
I'll second.
Can I
Or
take
Dan-
my,
Dan
take
will.
my 32 forward?
Aye.
Brendan?
There's the on the trail.
Aye.
Scott?
It's small. Aye.
Water?
Aye.
It has wheels.